Today we start reassembly on our Shriner car fire truck. There are a lot of nuts, bolts, and chassis parts that need to somehow get put back together. The only problem is I don't remember how this thing goes back together because I didn't take any pictures before I disassemble it. God, can't remember where this goes. I think this is correct. Maybe I just need a hammer to get this in place. God, this tire just doesn't want to go on. But I got an idea that I know will work. This son of a going on whether it likes it or not. So get ready to be mounted, Mr. Tire. Oh, what do I do? It's fine, probably.
Hey guys, welcome back to Rubber in the Garage. It is Sean here. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. If you have not subscribed, you should because we have a lot of great content. And if you turn on your notifications, you will not miss one video of that great content. So today we are focused on the Shriner car again. And if you haven't seen the last 3 videos, I suggest you watch them. It'll get you caught up on this series. We are doing a ground up restoration on this Shriner car and turning it into a fire truck. And the first video we released was all about disassembling the chassis, sanding it down, and getting it painted matte black. The next thing we did in the second video is we worked on the body of the car. And what we did is we fixed all of the problems that we had with the fiberglass. And as you can see, we got our automotive finish just like we wanted. So today's video is gonna focus on reassembling the chassis of this car. The first thing I'm gonna tackle is getting the front tires on, getting the tie rods hooked up so the steering actually works. And I'm gonna give you a pro tip. If you have not taken pictures of your project as you disassemble it, especially something that is so large like this, do it.
Do it. Do it.
You will not remember by the time you get to reassembly exactly how things go back together.
Pro tip, unless you have a photographic memory, start snapping pictures, brother. Nobody needs a hero.
I'm gonna look up all those pictures so I have references. So before we waste any more time, let's just get to reassembling this. All right, we are back and we are ready to actually start assembling this. I wanted to talk about what we were going to actually do today and then show you what we've got to do it with. So one thing that I've done is I have taken the liberty of powder coating all of these parts that we're going to use to reassemble the front end. And you can see I've got like a really rich gold, and that's what we're going to be using on all of these parts. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get these little stub axles on. And once we get those stub axles on, we're going to be able to put our little hubs on. And once we get the hubs on each side, we've already got all of our bolts powder coated. So we'll be ready to go with those. And then we've got all of our nuts and washers for that. Once we get that assembled, we are going to put our tie rods on and tie those into our steering column. You can see down here, there's a little tiny arm that comes out with a hole in it, and that's what we're gonna connect these tie rods to, and that's gonna give us the ability to turn our wheels. So let's get started, and I wanna get the wheels all the way on this thing, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare the headlights for this, because these mount obviously right on the front. Let me just show you here. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw our video on using a bunch of Temu parts to upgrade our scooter with some really cool features. Well, one of those features that we were going to use was to mount eyeball lights. And we showed these on the end of the video. They are really cool. We're gonna save the back end for the next video because there's a lot of parts and we really want to walk you through how to reassemble that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started and get this thing assembled. All right, we're over here on the driver's side and here is where our stub axle is going to mount. One of the things that you're going to need in this project is you're going to need some snap ring pliers, and let me show you what those look like. There we go. We've got 2 little tiny spots that come out. And if you're not familiar with what a snap ring is, this is what a snap ring looks like. So you can put those pliers in there and you can spread it. And that's what you're gonna need to do, if I could see. So here we go, and then we can spread this like this so you can get it around this little ring once our hub goes into place. And there's more things that need to go in this hub, obviously. and I'll show you what that is when we get to it. But the first thing we're gonna do is mount this. This needs to go to the bottom side. And if we don't, it's not gonna clear this bottom rail right here. And that tongue sits down on the steering column that I showed you earlier. That sits lower than this bar, which tells me that this being offset, this needs to be as low as possible. So we actually have the correct one for this side. Now we're gonna stick this in here, and we've got our big bolts that are gonna go through. So we're just gonna get that in place. I'm gonna loosely screw on this nut. Let's see if we can't get that all the way down. Now I'm gonna use a towel here to put over this since these are powder coated. There we go. Didn't mar it up at all. I'm gonna put this nut on just loosely right now. We'll tighten everything down when we get done with the front end. Now that we've got our stub axle in place, we need to put on our hub. But there's a few things that we need to do to this before we can actually mount it on the stub axle. So let's go and do that and get this all prepared. All right, we are over here at the other workbench, and I have what I think these are called compression washers, but what they're gonna do is fit into this hub on each end, and that's what's gonna give us that smaller hole to slide onto the stub axle, and then we will put our snap ring on there to hold it all on. At that point, it'll be ready to mount the wheel. So let's just get this put in place, and I'm gonna grab a rag again, not that these are powder coated, but just in case the hammer slips. Yeah, those things are a booger. I think it's because it's got a little bit of powder coat inside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and sand these out just a little bit, which will give us just a slight bit more room. So let me go do that, and we'll be back to assemble these. Okay, not that you don't know how to grind something out, but I'm just gonna show you. I'm using a Dremel here with a little contour sanding pad just to get in there, and I'm just going to town on the inside of this, and you can see right here that we have gotten it sanded down to bare metal again. With that, I'm gonna do the other side, and let's see how well these compression washers go in. So just bear with me for just a second. All right, other side is all sanded out. So let's see if we have some better luck putting these compression washers in. And if you don't have a persuader, go to Harbor Freight. Get yourself a Pittsburgh persuader.
Always Harbor Freight, baby.
Say that 10 times fast. They make different sizes, and they actually have sand in them. So if you're having a little party and someone's playing guitar, a little music going, you can just shake it. You can use your Pittsburgh hammer as a shaker.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
So that compression washer went in. We're gonna do this one real quick. And there you go, compression washer's in. So now we're ready to put it on that stub axle. We can get our compression ring on, and at that point, we're gonna be able to bolt the tire up to the hub and slide that on. So let's get to it. All right, we are back here. Here's our stub axle. So all we need to do is slide this on. See how this is offset as well? It goes on this way because you're gonna need that tire as far out as possible. So here is our little mounting bracket on our hub. So what we need to do at this point is get our snap ring on. So let's do that real quick. I'm gonna just move over here so I can kind of show you what I'm doing here. And our little tiny ridge that we have to mount it into is right there. So we'll just pull this. There we go. You can see that snap ring on there. Hub is locked in place. So it is not going anywhere. So the next thing we need to do is grab one of our tires, and I took the liberty of powder coating these rims. They were cast gray, and now we've got that deep, rich, it's actually called Seattle Gold. Fancy that. So now we're gonna put that on, and then we can start bolting this up to the hub, and we'll have the front left tire on and ready to go. Okay, now I'm gonna show you something and give you a pro tip here.
Pro tip. When tightening a powder-coated bolt, wrap the sides of the bolt with electrical tape to prevent the bolt head when tightened, unless you like stuff that looks like.
All right, you can see that we have got that tire mounted. We've got our nice black bolts to complement the gold. One thing I'm gonna do here is probably end up catting up a cap for this that we can use just to kind of cover this ugliness. Probably won't do that in this video, but that's something that I want to do. Hey there, not sure if you know this or not, which you shouldn't, but it's 45 degrees outside, and guess what? I'm wearing a t-shirt with nothing underneath it. And the reason is because our diesel shop heaters work so well. So if you haven't seen the video on our diesel shop heaters, check out the video right here. and you can see exactly what we're talking about. But let's get moving on to these tie rods so we can get the rest of this steering assembly assembled. All right, we are ready to put these tie rods in. I have both the tie rods, and they're all powder coated, of course, and I've got the powder coated black bolts, which are gonna mount those up. One thing that I wanted to show you is, look at my hair. Got a fancy new haircut because I hadn't had it cut in like 4 months. Also got some fancy new overalls, and this is the coolest part, some new fancy work boots for Christmas, but they got an American flag on the back. How cool is that? All right, before I waste any more time, let's start assembling these tie rods. Now, one thing that you want to note is these tie rods were taken off, and I don't remember which side was which. So what we're gonna do is start putting them on, and we might end up having these tires slightly skewed so the camber isn't quite correct. If that's the case, we just have to switch them and we're all good to go. But let's get going on it. All right, I've got my bolts. I'm gonna take my tie rod ends and I'm gonna use the long bolt to go through where they connect in the center to our little tab that sticks out. Get these babies in place. Looks like we're gonna have to use the persuader a little bit. Let's get in there. There we go. And I used our pro tip. I wrapped them with electrical tape on the heads so I didn't mar them up. So now I'm gonna slide the bolts for this side of the tie rod over here to get the tire in place and get this tie rod situated a little bit better. So let's see here. And it looks like we're gonna have to use the persuader on this one too. I'm gonna use this so I don't mar up the bolt, which is just a microfiber rag to give it some padding on top. So the problem is, I know I mentioned this in another video, but powder coat can be pretty thick, and when you powder coat something, you always want to cover your bolts and you want to plug any holes that you have. All right, folks, we are starting to assemble the tie rods, and I've got one of them mounted to that center tab that sticks out, which is what's connected to the steering column. So what we need to do is connect these up. I'm going to slide this first one after I straighten the tire onto this hole. Problem is, it's like they did get twisted a little bit somehow. So what I need to do is I need to straighten these out a little bit, and then we'll be able to put them on without them being a little twisted. So let me get those straightened and we'll start back in. All right, I got these straightened out. As you can see, now these are both on the same, oh, this one's still a little wonky, but we can get that. I just thought of a better way to do it. All right, we got those in place. Now, what we need to do, since we've got this all assembled, we're going to put our pedals in place. Now, something that I want to tell you, I know I talked about doing our custom headlights in the next video. Problem is, I forgot, I only have one of those headlights right now. So I got to order another one, get that, and then we can do those custom lights. I'm going to get the pedals and we are going to start putting those on. All right, this is where our pedals are going to go. Both the pedals are identical. So we're going to undo this bolt and get this pedal on. All right. Washers in place, screw on. Now we've got this one right here. Okay, what I have here, this is the rod that runs back from the gas pedal or the brake pedal. They're both the same. And this will be the back end of it. And you can see our wires connected here. And so when you push on the brake pedal, it's gonna pull that wire forward, which is going to engage the brake. Same thing with the gas. Problem is, when you go to take these off, there's a little ball inside there. And I thought, honestly, that you would twist the wire and it would pop through that groove. Nope, doesn't. What we had to do is cut the other end of the wire because you just can't do anything to get this ball out. So now what we do is slide the sheathing off, and then we can just pull that ball and get the wire completely out of it. Now it is ready to mount on the vehicle. These right here, they have a hole in them now, but they used to have these little, it looks like a little top hat cap. So I demolished those trying to get them off, and not really any other way to do it. So I don't have other caps, but a suggestion to me was to just drill a hole and put a cotter pin in it. So that's what we did. So this is gonna slide in the bottom hole of our pedals, and then it's gonna connect to the back of the vehicle, And here we have our tensioning spring. So we're gonna get new cables for that, but right now I am going to get this connected on each side in preparation for getting those cables, running them, and then when we assemble the rest of the back end, we will have everything ready to hook up our gas and hook up our brake. So let me get these put on. I have got a handy dandy little kit from, guess where?
Always Harbor Freight, baby.
Let's find one that is about the right size. Here we go. I think these will work just fine. We got that in place. Let's go and do the other one, and then I will tighten them both. If you've never used a cotter pin before, they're pretty easy. You stick it through and you spread them, curve them. Okay, we got the pedals in place, but one thing I just realized is I made a small mistake. Pushing down on the pedal, nothing's happening. That is engaging the gas. Problem is, I needed to run these to this hole right here, and then it's gonna come across this bar and down through here. And you can see whoever did this before cut this plate out to give the bar more clearance. And I have a feeling that we're gonna wanna do it on this side, because if I remember correctly, when I was pulling this apart, it was way too tight of a fit, and you had problems with it rubbing on the metal. So we're gonna get that cut out real quick to match the other side, and then we are going to switch these bars around, which means we're gonna have to take off the cotter pins again. So it's a good thing I have that pack from Harbor Freight, because I got plenty of extra, so we're good to go. Let's get this done. All right, you can see I've got the other side cut out, a little rough, but you know what? You're never gonna see this. So it's gonna serve its purpose, it's gonna serve it well. So now let's get started on putting these rods back in, but this time we're gonna feed them up through this. So you can see now, once we run it up through that hole, we're gonna connect it up here. And that way, when we push the brake pedal, it's pulling the wire instead of pushing the wire. So we're gonna get that installed right now, and then these pedals should be ready to go so we can feed our wire through and get them working once we get the back end put together. At this point, we have got everything reassembled that we can on the front, and the next thing is gonna be starting on the back. So, share this with all your friends. If you like the video, give us a comment, give us a like. I'd like to know what you think this body should look like for a fire truck. So thanks for watching. Stick around for the next video, and with that, Rev Render out.
As always, thanks for watching. Tune in every Saturday for a new video. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Those likes really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, Rev Render out.